Hi everyone, and welcome to the very last Cauldron of 2021. Here we're going to go over our highs and our lows of the year. So Denise, I'm going to come to you first. What were your highs of 2021?
Okay, so the highs, I think, is how much we progressed really in 2021 compared to where we were towards the beginning of the year. We've had like a number of really good things happen, which is firstly in court cases. So Mea Forstater's ruling was really important because it protects gender critical beliefs. Now, the weird thing is, like, it's not really a belief that there's two sexes, it's a fact. But because of the Equality Act, didn't imagine that they would have to protect facts, that it has to be protected under beliefs, but it gives people a lot of protection at work. So a lot of women were frightened to come out as gender critical because they feared for their jobs. But now HR would be in a lot of trouble if they try to penalise anybody for gender critical beliefs at work. And the problem for the employer is that the Equality Act in discrimination claims are unlimited compensation. So normally in employment tribunals, there's a limit. It's about 80 or 90,000-ish. That's the maximum payout. But if it's discrimination, it's unlimited payout. So employers will be particularly worried about this, and hopefully they'll have reviewed their HR policies and made sure that gender critical beliefs are, respected at work. And then the next ruling is the one that's just recently, the We Are Fair Cop ruling, that police have been recording, if people report women or men with gender critical views, it was a man in this case, the police will record it as a non-crime hate incident. And that was found to be unlawful. And the reason is because it's a chilling effect on freedom of expression. It's unlawful under the Freedom of Expression Article 10. So that was great. So the police will need to watch themselves now, and Humza and his hate crimes bill will need to watch themselves as well, the Scottish Government. So there's a couple of good rulings, and then the other high point in practical terms is the recent polling. So there's been 3 polls recently. One was run by James Kelly, Scott Goes Pop, crowdfunded by us as usual. And then there was one by Murray Blackthorne Mackenzie, and the most recent ones by For Women Scotland. And they all show the same result, that the Scottish people are on our side. They don't want self-ID. And this is before we're actually able to properly explain the consequences of self-ID to them. So even then, the results are 2/3 against, 71% against. That's the kind of numbers that there is. So the more we can explain to people the consequences of self-ID, the less popular it is. Now, that's not to say the Scottish Government will pay any attention to that at all, because they've got a majority to push this through, and the Greens, with Patrick Harvey, obviously want to push it through. But we'll see, because they're politicians and they have to listen to the ballot box, and we've got an opportunity in May to make sure that the government realises how much we do not want self-ID. So I would say they're the big things, but the other big thing is the actual grassroots movement of women this year. The difference has been amazing since last year, incredible. So starting with like demonstrations, at the Scottish Parliament, the Handmaidens demonstration, and now street stalls in every town across Scotland, and public meetings have been held to discuss the implications of self-ID, and also the trans guidance for schools and the school sex survey. The message is getting out. So I'd say like the actual grassroots movement, and like groups like the Soul Sisters with their postcards, the stickering, the chalk, all the things that's been going on, the ribbons, the actual symbolism that we've built up of the suffragette flag, and our hashtag like Women Won't Wheesh, that's gone international. And as very good towards the end of the year, just recently, J.K. Rowling even tweeted Women Won't Wheesh. So like the actual grassroots activism, and women have got organised. We've really got organised. And so next year it's going to be like the big battle, but we're ready for it. So like out of the things that happened, I say that they were the strong points. For myself personally, I think my strongest, best thing this year was getting the Women Inequalities Resolution passed at the Alba conference. Eva Comrie, she wrote, I think, the first draft of the Women Inequalities Resolution. And that first draft was then used by the women candidates in the Scottish Parliament election last year to develop the women's inequality policy. All I really did was copy their words into a resolution, send it in, and it was accepted for debate, and then proposed it. And then my good friend, Heather McLean, she seconded it. And there was quite a few people spoke in favour of the resolution, you know, including Caroline McAllister. It was a joint effort, and it's the way that women are, the activism's working. It's working in cooperation, and we work together. But it does put the women's rights and equality as policy of a party, and hopefully in May they will get quite a lot of councillors, and that is party policy, and the councillors will be following it. Of course the councillors will all want to follow it, but they will be following it. And also there's a leaflet being created because it's policy, and that's being delivered, a self-ID leaflet. So I'm really kind of personally, that would be my high point, I think. But I think the low point for me is the treatment of some women. The Kathleen Stock, but again, that highlights the situation in you know, the country. The treatment of Joanna Cherry, and also that the Scottish Parliament has lost some of the best women. They lost Joan McAlpine because of the gerrymandering, and they've lost Joanne Lamont, who's like fantastic, Jenny Mara and Elaine Smith from Labour. So I think the lower points is the way women are being treated. And of course, just yesterday, there was another low point with the report from the supposed Women and Equalities under Caroline Noakes from the Westminster, and who said basically that sex was irrelevant and that there shouldn't be women's safe spaces and so on. This has an SNP representative, Anne McLaughlin, who is Justice, who took over from Joanne Cherry, and I believe that she wasn't there, she didn't even vote. So that shows you how important women are to the SNP, like not important at all. So that's my low points, but my high points, I think, well outweigh the low points, because we have made amazing progress this year. The differences, especially in the second half, the activism has really made a difference. It gives me lots of hope for next year when we will win. We'll definitely win.
Thank you, Denise. And Claire, what are your high and low points for the year?
So I actually thought a little bit about why we started the podcast, and that's what I want to talk a bit about today. You know, we started this because we were very concerned about this ideology and what it meant for women. You know, that's why we're here, because we want to protect women, children, and girls, because we are under threat. You know, we're under threat in schools. Now, we've highlighted the fact that queer theory is now in school. Now, that's been introduced with some devastating effects. You know, we've been to meetings where parents have spoken about girls not drinking all day, not going to the toilet, being attacked. You know, we've got one attack a week in our schools. These are sexual attacks. You know, how on earth is that allowed? That's just seeing girls losing privacy, dignity, and respect. It's really not good enough. And that has all been introduced through the back door, through independence. And it's not been advertised by the MSPs. And that's very telling. For me, that's really telling, because if they really did believe in all of this, they'd be shouting it from the rooftops, very proudly stating their allegiance with this ideology, and they're not doing that. You know, at a public meeting that we had a podcast about it, John Swinney actually shut down parents who were trying to discuss the fact that their children were being taught that porn in school is normal, anal sex is normal, the use of breast binders is normal, and that transgenderism in itself is normal. It's not, you know, and I think that's something that more and more people are coming to realise that. We talked a lot about trans healthcare and what that means. That's puberty blockers, wrong sex hormones, the use of breast binders. It's all these horrific procedures that basically disable children. And this is against children. You know, we adults, I would say anyone over really the age of maybe 21, free to do whatever you like in my view. But promoting this from for young children provides an environment for those children really to be groomed into this ideology. And by far the greatest number we're seeing of children dysphoric is young girls. And if that is not a phenomenon due to the indoctrination in school, why are we not seeing the huge numbers of transitioners in adulthood? Because surely all these women who were not allowed to do this when they were children, they'd all be coming forward now. That's not happening. This is directly linked to pornography, directly linked to this ideology, and directly linked to grooming on social media, schools, everywhere. You know, you ask anyone these days, all children, they all have an idea of what this is. And that's wrong. That's not normal. We're medicalising puberty. The known and proven remedy to body dysphoria is puberty. And we're actually telling children that not to go through puberty. Huge rise in sex crimes. These are all things that we've discussed. I mean, I was reading yesterday about a woman who's being sentenced for raping an Alsatian. Now, let's just think about that for a minute. None of these crimes are new, right? Men telling women what to do, what to say, what to think. None of that's new. The new thing, the phenomena, is that this is now being attributed to women. It's horrible and it's wrong and it's a lie. This ideology is a lie. So basically, I just want to say that we are not cis, we are not bigots, we are women, and we need to stand up. I mean, I'm really proud to be a woman, you know. It matters, sex matters, it matters in healthcare, matters in schools, it matters everywhere, in prisons. You know, if you think about this man who has raped Alsatians, men, paedophiles, male rapists, you name it, they are all being given this special treatment and put in women's jails. That could never be right. That is a big fat lie. So my Christmas wish is that we stop pandering to this ideology. You know, Denise said something last week, and honestly, it really did affect me. And it was to do with the fact that the people that are in power and the people that are being promoted on social media and everywhere else, they're only there because they have their allies with this ideology. So we're a grassroots movement. We are a true grassroots movement. Yeah, we're shining a light on it, and more people are actually saying no. So that fills me with a lot of hope. And I do agree with you, Denise. I think next year, you know, women are not going to be silenced, and we're not going to wheeshed. And Police Scotland should watch out, because I personally have been visited by them, and I believe I have a what is it you said, a
non-crime hate incident.
A non-crime hate incident has been recorded against me. It was done maliciously, and I'll be following that up. You know, we will fight you in the courts, and we will win because we're right. It's a war on women, and it's a war on childhood. And when women are threatened like this, we will fight. And we, as Caroline McAllister said at Scottish Parliament, you'll have to build more prisons because we're not accepting it, not ever. So that's what I've got to say today.
And Caroline McAllister at the Scottish Parliament, and I remember that she said, "This is the hill we will die on." It's like, oh, thanks for that, Caroline. Fine.
I think my high points as well for the year are the fact that, you know, I said that women have got vaginas, which led on to like a massive storm. But the good stuff that came from that was that I made all these new friends, and I've now got a support of women behind me that I would never have had this not happened. So as much as that bad thing happened to me, it's led on to beautiful friendships. It's led on to so much more. I went to demonstrations. I've never been to a demonstration in my life. I went to Glasgow Green. I was at Holyrood. So those are my high points for the year. And I think the low points for the year are, for me, what's going on in the schools. So we've got this census in the school. The good thing is a lot of the councils are saying no, but some of them are still saying yes. So that, for me, that is a really, really low point. And I think we all need to just fight and fight to try and get that changed in Dundee, Angus, Perth and Kinross. Okay, now we're going to make a small toast each. Denise, to you.
Okay, well, happy Christmas to everybody, and here's for our big wins in 2022. And what I'd say is, to all the women, courage does call to courage, and thank you all for speaking up. In any way you speak up, writing to your MPs, attending a demo, speaking up in any way, because all our voices together, they won't be able to ignore, and we'll win. And as to quote J.K. Rowling, she says, "Say it louder, women won't wheesh." So here's to 2022.
Claire?
So I'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and to all women for 2022, get out there, start voicing all your concerns, start saying no in the schools, everywhere, start talking about this and do your bit. And following on from Denise saying about courage, it should not take courage to tell the truth. And so I would like to wish everyone courage and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. All I'm going to say is that I've been called brave an awful lot this year, and I don't think I am. It does not take bravery to state biological fact. I'm going to keep stating it. I've got a fantastic network of women behind me, and women are bloody awesome. No man can ever be a woman. It's impossible. You cannot change sex. End of story. Merry Christmas. Here's to 2022. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.